Good afternoon, or maybe it's still morning, depending on where you are joining us from today. My name is Samantha Wentz, and I am the event specialist here at Beam. And on behalf of Beam Benefits, I'd like to welcome you and thank everyone for joining us today as we take a look at the ultimate guide to dental benefits and how to unlock new revenue. As we get started, I want to just review a few items. You'll see in the chat and through Zoom here that you're all muted and the chat feature is disabled. But if you have any questions at any point, please feel free to submit those via the Q&A feature that's located in the bottom of your screen in your toolbar. And then, of course, after the webinar, we will be sharing out a recording and the slides. So if you missed something today, never fear, you will get that information. Here we just have a quick overview of our agenda, taking a quick look at that, dental terminology, dental plans, and then some tips to grow your revenue stream. All right, and now I just want to hand it over and do a quick introduction of our two wonderful speakers. Dr. Scott Kalniz, he is our Chief Dental Officer and Vice President of Network Development here at Beam, and Jody Duncan, one of our wonderful market development executives. So I'm going to let them take it away, get them introducing themselves, and we're off. So all over to you two.
Jody.
I go first. Okay, great. Well, thank you very much. I'm excited to join everyone, spend some minutes today going through dental plans, how they work and how they can have a positive impact on your business. So just real quick, a little background on myself. As Sam mentioned, I'm a market development executive, so basically a sales rep for Beam Benefits. I started with Beam in October of 21. So about a year and a half now I've been with Beam. Prior to that, I spent 16 years at another dental and vision insurance carrier. So I have about, I don't know, almost 18 years now of experience in the dental benefit industry. Just to share some with you today. Part of my job really is just to expand the Beam brand into new markets and just introduce Beam as a company and bring the opportunity to work with Beam to employer groups in the area through the brokers that they work with. And so that really is a little bit about me. I went to the University of Kentucky, so I got a bachelor's in communication from that. So I'm a proud Wildcat alum. And I live in Cincinnati, Ohio. So today is a very special day for us. It's opening day for the Reds, which we will be our happiest probably for the year until about 7:30 tonight when the game ends. But it's a great day here in Cincinnati. So I'm happy to spend a few minutes with you. Scott?
Thanks, Jody. So again, Scott Kalniz. I am Chief Dental Officer and VP of Network Development. So kind of two hats. I've been with Beam for about 18 to 24 months. I started off consulting and then joined them full time about a year ago. I am a dentist by training. Went to The Ohio State University for undergrad graduated with an economics degree, and then went to dental school, finished dental school in '98. Joined my dad in practiced full-time dentistry the first 16 years of my career. And then I got into the dental support organization management side of things, growing large dental groups across the Midwest, and currently serve on a couple of boards of those dental support organizations, or DSOs. My role at Beam on the Chief Dental Officer side, I spend quite a bit of time with our claims team, helping to train them on proper adjudication, both on the clinical side, but also looking at the certification, making sure everything matches well, making sure our members are getting the quality care that they expect and deserve. And on the network development side, what I do there is go out and try to recruit quality dentists to join our Beam Direct network to give our members more options in terms of where they can go to get their care. Excited to talk to you a little bit more today about all things dental insurance and dental. It's kind of neat for me because I've been on both sides now. So I see things from all angles. You know, what's really important and what we've been finding, meaning the scientific community. I'm not sure I really count as being part of that, but anyway, what we're finding is, well, dental benefits provide a huge value in preventive care and provides cost savings and maintaining overall health and well-being. And that's really where I want to focus on kind of this slide and why dental care is so important to your overall health. And I think the next slide is going to ask a question here, and you should have the ability to, there you go, click on one of the poll questions, and we'll give everybody maybe about 30 seconds to see, put in their answer, and then we'll reveal what it is. I was actually a little surprised by this. It's a little. Okay. So the answer is, actually, the answer is 71%. I was actually, before we put the slides together, I was in the 52% range as well. It always was like, hey, half the population has dental insurance, and but actually more than that now have some form of dental benefit. And really, why do these dental benefits matter? And that's where I want to spend a little bit of time. And so again, 71% have it, $142 billion spent on dental care, and 9 of 10 adults agree that having dental insurance provides them peace of mind. But what's really important here is the prevention aspect. We really only see about 50% of the population utilizing this benefit. And education is key to getting more people into the dentist's office for their preventive care. It might sound weird for an insurance company to actually want to increase our utilization, but we want people to use their preventive benefit because we know how important it is to our members, and why, Beam originally was the toothbrush, and why we actually provide perks to our members that use the toothbrush. Beam has always been and will continue to always be focused on prevention.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Scott. I agree wholeheartedly on that. I think the key to and really the reason you should get the dental benefits is to provide the ability to have access to the preventive care. It's so critical. And I think that's some of the things that we'll touch on during the presentation today, and why it should be important for you as a broker to be focused on bringing these benefits to your clients, is because a lot of chronic diseases have, findings and connections to the oral health, like diabetes and heart disease. So I love that you touched on that, because it really is important. So thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we're going to move on and just talk about on the next few slides. We're going to review parts of a dental contract. The reason it's important to have an understanding of how the various components work in a contract is because they have an impact on the monthly premium and also the members' out-of-pocket exposure and what they're going to pay when they go to the dentist and use these benefits. So we want to spend about the next 10 or 15 minutes with you just kind of reviewing the different parts of a dental contract and why they matter. So some of the biggest parts or the main parts behind a dental contract, one is a deductible. So just like in medical, a deductible is first dollar responsibility for the member. So the member is going to pay the deductible before any benefit or payment from the insurance company kicks in. Unlike medical these days, the good news is these deductibles in dental are not very high. $50 is by far probably the most common deductible we see. That would be for an individual, $50. Most plans are going to have a family cap You'll see like a 3 times the individual limit for the family cap. So if I have a family of 5, instead of having a total exposure of $250, most plans will cap that at 3 times or $150. That is a little bit of a nuance in a contract that you'll want to be aware of, because there are some plans out there that still charge a per person deductible with no cap. So in my family situation, we could have that times 6. That's an important thing, but those are first dollar responsibilities for the member.
And
The
Jody,
annual, yeah.
sorry, you want to touch on though, for preventive, generally there is no deductible.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's what's key, and kind of supports what you were talking about, is that the preventive services that we're going to talk about, I think here on the next slide, usually are not subject to the deductible. So that is huge. Annual maximums. This basically is the most money that an insurance, or the amount of money that an insurance company is going to pay a provider on the member's behalf, right? So I like to tell people, everybody gets a bucket of money. And the bucket of money, in most cases, it's $1,000. It might be $1,500. It could go up a little bit more than that. But let's say we have $1,000 annual maximum. Everybody gets their $1,000, and then every dollar that the insurance company pays to a dentist gets subtracted from that bucket of money. So at the end of the year, if your bucket is empty, there are going to be no more benefits paid by the insurance company. So that $1,000 is kind of the maximum amount that will be paid on your behalf. The good news is it resets every year. So we'll talk about the different plan year options, benefit periods, but you do get a new $1,000 that refreshes every year. Also, every member of the family gets their own bucket of money. So it's not like a shared bucket for the family. Each person gets their own annual maximum. A lifetime maximum, where we see this, is for orthodontist services. So it is a separate bucket of money, so that there's the annual max for your traditional dental needs, and then the lifetime maximum applies to your orthodontia needs. The key to this is it does not refresh. So once your bucket is empty, it does not refill year over year. Okay, but it is a separate bucket, so that's important to keep in mind. The next these three terms, basically we'll refer to them as co-insurance, right? When you're discussing dental plans, these are co-insurance. So it defines the percentage of what the insurance company is going to pay and what the member's responsibility is. So your diagnostic and preventive, think of these as like your 2 scheduled cleanings when you go to the dentist each year, right? Most commonly, you're going to see these covered at 100%. So these are going to cover services like your exam, the prophy, which is your cleaning, x-rays, and fluoride treatments. And as Dr. Scott mentioned, the deductible rarely applies to these preventive services. So these, are going to be covered by your insurance company. So another great reason to go to them. Couple things to keep in mind though, the preventive services in most contracts do apply towards the annual maximum. So that $1,000 that we talked about, that bucket of money, if you go in for your preventive cleaning, it is in most cases going to apply towards that annual maximum. There are riders, and actually Beam has it, and I love it, that you can add to a plan where preventive services do not apply towards the annual maximum. What I love about that is people kind of assume that their cleanings are free, like, oh, my insurance company is going to pay for that. And that isn't always the case in how a traditional insurance contract works. If you have a big service, like you have to have a crown or a root canal at the beginning of the year, and you use all of your annual max, there's a chance that that second cleaning may not be covered by your insurance company if you are out of max. So just kind of keep that in mind. But typically, the way it goes, the diagnostic and preventive services are going to be covered for you. Basic services are going to be things like fillings and simple extractions commonly. A coinsurance that you will see very often is an 80% in this category. I see a bunch of 50% as well. But those are kind of the, it can be any percentage, but these is going to be, so if it's an 80% coinsurance, the insurance company is going to pay 80%, leaving 20% for the member to pay. Now, let's keep in mind that that 80% that the insurance company is going to pay starts after the deductible and up to the annual maximum. Okay, so there's always the deductible for basic and major coinsurance. Once that is set for the year, then you can go straight into coinsurance up to the annual maximum. For major services, that's going to be things like crowns, bridges, implants, complex oral surgery like having wisdom teeth removed. Those are very common services that you'll see in the major. We'll see coinsurance amount often at a 50% level, so meaning that the insurance company is going to pay half and you're going to pay half as the member on that. It doesn't always end up being 50, but that is a very common one. There are some services that can move between these categories, and that's very important for you to understand as you're reviewing contracts. Periodontics, which are your gum disease, endodontics, which is root canal, and then oral surgery. Those can be moved between basic and major. So as you compare contracts, you'll want to pay attention to that and make sure that you're not moving somebody maybe from a basic benefit down to a major in an attempt to save them money without understanding the impact that that could potentially have on them as they use the plan. Okay. So these benefits talk about, or these terms are associated with in versus out of network benefits. So those are two different types of claims you can have on a dental plan, much like medical. Much more common on the dental side to go out of network. It's not nearly as devastating to go out of network on a dental plan that it is on the medical side. So don't be afraid of an out of network benefit, but there are nuances to understand. Network means that the provider has agreed to accept discounted rates from the insurance company. So, if they want to charge X amount, they agree to take a discounted rate from the insurance company for that service. The key for a member's perspective is if they go to an in-network dentist, they cannot be balance billed. And the balance bill is going to be the difference between what the dentist charges and what the insurance company pays. So that's a definite advantage for going in network. Out of network can really vary dramatically from contract to contract. Every carrier has these two different types of plans, the maximum allowed charge, we call them MAC plans, or usual and customary plans. So it's not just one insurance company is better over the other. It's about the contract that you have in place. So something to really pay attention to from that perspective. It will have a major impact on the monthly premiums, but also the out-of-pocket exposure for out-of-network claims. So a MAC plan, basically that discounted fee schedule that an in-network provider agreed to, that's the same fee that the insurance company is going to pay an out-of-network dentist. So it's the maximum allowed charge, that agreed to charge. The hard part is with an out-of-network provider, the dentist isn't protected, the member is not protected from balance billing. So the member is going to be responsible for that gap between what the dentist charges and what the insurance company pays. Okay. So in a preventive type situation, if you go to an out-of-network provider, you could have exposure, even though that's paid at 100%, because the out-of-network dentist might charge more than the insurance company pays, and therefore you would be responsible for that. MAC plans are great if you have income sensitive groups. So if we need to offer the benefit, but really try to control the cost on that, MAC plans are cheaper on a monthly basis, so can really be a strategic tool to use for those groups. We just really want to encourage and push the network on these MAC plans so we can protect the employees from that balance billing. A UCR plan, basically the insurance company's reimbursement is going to be in line with prevailing charges for a given geographic area. So there's different levels of it, but most commonly we'll hear a 90th percentile. Basically what that means is the insurance company will pay the provider up to or equal to what 90 out of 100 dentists in that area bill. Okay, so it's not 90%, right, of the claim, it's the 90th percentile. So we got to do some, I'm taking you back to statistics here, but it's a much richer reimbursement than what the MAC plan is. Members can still be balance billed, but the exposure and the risk for that is going to be much less on a UCR plan. And basically, if you get a balance bill on a UCR plan, it just means that the dentist fees might be a little bit higher than what a typical dentist would charge in that area. So just something to be aware of. The premiums are going to be higher on a UCR plan, but if you have an area where there aren't a lot of dentists or a lot of the dentists don't take plans, the UCR plan is probably going to be a safer bet for you because it's going to help limit that out-of-pocket exposure. Okay. A couple other details on a contract: open enrollment. So as with all benefits, the open enrollment is a window every year when employees can make benefit decisions. You can add and drop different levels, different coverages, different types of benefits for any reason. With a dental contract, one important thing to understand is if it offers an annual open enrollment. And what that annual open enrollment means that an employee, maybe if I was offered the first year I was hired and I waived the coverage, and now year 2 during my open enrollment, I decide I want the coverage. If that contract does not have an annual open enrollment, you could be subject to waiting periods. And these waiting periods can be pretty steep. They can be 6, 12, even up to 24 months. So an annual open enrollment is a much more user-friendly contract. And if there's a variance in rates, that's always one to look out for as you're comparing different plans. Waiting periods, that's a set period of time that a member has to be enrolled in a plan before services will be covered. So if the member's paying full premium, they're paying full premium, but they may not get all the benefits. So we'll see these very commonly. Probably the most common is a 12-month wait on major. Termination date is just basically when the coverage ends for the employee or their dependents. On the dependent side, most dental plans these days are going up to age 26 to match the medical. Not required to, but that is something that you'll commonly see. Benefit year. So we mentioned about this earlier when we were talking about the bucket of money. Very commonly, you'll see calendar year plans. So those benefits are going to reset every January and run January till the end of December. But they can be plan year. And a plan year would say be from April 1st to March 31st. So it would run kind of in its own 12-month period. So that's just something to be aware of. On a claim or a claim form, claim is basically how the provider gets paid. So if they file the claim, most network providers will, or I think they're required to do that for you. For out of network, most dentists are going to file that claim as a service, even though they don't have to. But if they don't, there's a claim form that you can get and submit that to the insurance company for payment.
One thing that I'll chime in here, sorry, I'll chime in and interrupt real quickly. One of the biggest issues we have in trying to properly adjudicate a claim is we don't get the right information from the dentist's office. And unfortunately, a lot of times, our member, the patient, will call the broker and say, hey, how come Beam isn't paying, or how come whatever insurance company isn't paying? We actually want to pay the claim. We're trying to. It's just for certain procedures, we need x-rays or we need periodontal charting. We need various things. And if we don't have those, we have to reject the claim and ask the dentist to send the right information. And it just becomes, and then there's laws on timings of all of these things. So it's just really important. And we're trying to educate the dentists as well on what we need. And we don't need anything extraordinary that anybody else does. It's just making sure that we get what we need the first time.
Got it. Yeah, that's a great point. It's sometimes a denial isn't a no, it's just a not yet. I need more info. So
Exactly.
that's a
Yeah.
great point. Coordination of benefits, that's just if you can be covered by more than one dental plan. So the coordination of benefits just basically determines which plan is primary and which one is secondary, which one pays first, which one pays second for you and your dependents. So a dependent is basically just a member of your family that can be covered by the plan. It can include a spouse, children, stepchildren. It can include partners. So a dependent is basically just somebody eligible to be covered. Eligibility, basically, it just helps us determine and dictate when and who can be covered. So when you hear eligible, that just means can you elect the benefits. And then an EOB, so this is basically a statement provided by the insurance company that will explain the percentage of the claims they paid and what is your responsibility. We actually have an example of a EOB on the next page, if you want to go ahead and click. It's a bit of an eye chart, so maybe just wait and refer to it when we send this out as a follow-up. But on an EOB, again, given to you by the insurance company, it's going to include the provider info, patient info, date of service, types of service, and then it's going to tell you what the dentist charged, what the insurance company paid, and then what you owe. So these EOBs are very informative and oftentimes key to filing claims, like with your FSA or HSA, if you happen to not use your card. So the EOBs can be very helpful. Okay, Dr. Scott.
Yes, so let's talk about the various types of dental plans. We're going to have another poll that comes up. What are the main types of dental plans? This one's pretty easy, so we probably don't need to spend too much time on this one. Okay, what do we got? All right, all of the above, yes. We're seeing less dental indemnity. I mean, not in these answers here, just in general, since really the Great Recession of 2008, 2009, we started seeing less indemnity plans and more of the PPO type plans coming in. But let's move on and talk just a little bit about what the main differences are with each of these plans. And so we'll start here with what the preferred provider organization is. You have a large network of dentists who've agreed to take a discounted fee for their care. In essence, it's a marketing fee. As a dentist, I need as many new patients and existing patients as I can. I'm willing to provide a discount so that I can fill my chairs. And now for the member, obviously they can save a considerable amount of money going to an in-network dentist. Now, the nice thing with a PPO, they can go to any dentist, but the considerable cost savings happen when they go to an in-network provider. So it does provide a lot of flexibility and choice, whether they go to their general dentist. They don't have to get permission to go to a specialist if they need a different care. And preferred provider PPOs are the leading type of dental benefit that we see today. And the next one are the dental HMOs. You typically see these more, like California, they've always been big. They never kind of really made their way to the Midwest. I'm going to speak maybe a little bit negatively towards this from a member experience and from a dentist standpoint, but mostly from the member experience. An HMO, we pay the dentist a certain amount of money every month per member per month. And if I'm getting $5, $10, $20 a month, and it's usually not 20, it costs the practice money every time the patient shows up. Now, if for preventive care, that kind of stuff, it's fine. But if the dentist needs a filling, needs a crown, needs a root canal or anything like that, the offices that accept a lot of these plans tend to upsell the member because this is kind of very basic coverage, and it's just it's not a quality experience for the member, and it's a tough policy to make work for all of the players. So kind of we'll move on to something a little bit happier, which are the indemnity regular plans. And again, you're seeing fewer and fewer of these. Now, these provide the most flexibility for your members. They can see any dentist. It does come though with a much higher out-of-pocket cost because there's no discount. If the dentist wants to charge $5,000 for a crown, the insurance company will pay, X percent, and if they have 1,000 max, sure, maybe they'll pay the 1,000, but now the patient's on the hook for the extra 4,000. So the indemnity plans, ultimate flexibility, but probably highest price. Next come these aren't insurance plans. These are basically just a discount or a membership plan, similar to joining Costco or Sam's Club. You generally will pay a dental office a monthly or a yearly fee. A lot of times that does include the preventive, so you get your cleanings and x-rays and things like that, and then discounts off of any work that you need to have done. They do work well for people that don't have access to any other dental benefit. Some of the downsides, some of the pricing can be opaque, meaning I'll give you 20% off of our crown fee. Okay, well, now I need a crown. And I've seen this happen where the dentist will, raise their fee for their crown 20%, knock it down 20%, because again, the pricing is opaque. The other downside is the flexibility of which dentist you can go to. It's typically a relationship between the member and a single dentist. Sometimes these DSOs or these dental support organizations have them. So, if you do move and they have another office, you can transfer your membership plan there. But it's the other issue, insurance companies, we provide a level of oversight. Our adjudication is meant to protect our members, to make sure that they're getting the necessary care, and so it's appropriate care and they're getting the quality care. And with these membership plans, it's just a relationship one-on-one, and if the dentist is very good at, I'll say, selling treatment, then then the treatment gets sold. Kind of like when I take my car into the oil change, I have no idea. They tell me I need a new air filter. Sure, I need a new air filter because I don't want my car to break. So again, pros and cons there. But overall, we're seeing the PPOs making up the vast majority of the plans that are being sold. And those, again, create a lot of flexibility for the member. It saves them money going in network, but they can go out of network, still get a benefit. Those are probably most of the plans that you'll end up working on for your businesses.
Okay. Yeah, this chart here, I think, does just a really nice job of outlining some of the things we've talked about so far. So basically like a spreadsheet that you might use at a broker's office to bring to life all the parts of a dental contract in a way for you to kind of compare the cost and the benefits of these as you're speaking with clients. So if you look across the top at the titles, you see MAC, that's the MAC plans. And then the ones without MACs, those are going to be your UCR plans. And it states it there at the bottom as well. But these are things that you want to talk about, and we can actually go into a little bit more detail probably on the broker side as you're working with clients. So what's covered in that basic category, what's covered in that major category. So there's a lot of detail that can be, but a lot of discussion that you can use on one of these charts. But at the end of the day, this is like the primary components of a dental contract and the major things that you would want to understand. Okay. Pro tips. Okay, here we go. Are we ready? I think we're going to start this off with a question. So to increase your revenue for your brokerage, what's the first thing you should do? Okay. We have a response yet? Know your audience? Yeah. So the answer, at least in our perspective here, is going to be to set goals. So let's talk about that just for a minute. While each of those answers are important, and I would agree, knowing your audience is probably a critical pace to it. I think what we need to do initially is create a target, right? Understand what you're aiming for and what you're trying to accomplish, and then you use the other items like knowing your audience to create a strategy to help you achieve your goal, right? But having that goal, outlining that goal is really going to be the first step. So actually, I'll if you want to go back a second, I'll add a couple little points there. I forgot. So goals, I think, can vary widely depending on where you are in your career. So if you're developing your block, targeting additional revenue streams like dental is going to create opportunities for you to talk to prospects. Right. So you might talk to a prospect that's got everything covered on the medical side, but maybe they don't have a dental plan. So if you verse yourself in the dental terminology and in the other benefits, honestly, that you can represent, it's going to create opportunities for you to have conversations and build relationships with prospects and hopefully potential clients. Maximizing the potential of that one client, if you can sell them one line of coverage to solve one problem for them, and you already have that rapport and that trust with them, it's a pretty easy lift really to add additional lines of coverage like dental to further that relationship and to help create a more comprehensive benefit package for them and their employees. So it's really a great way not only to help your client, but to increase that revenue stream for you. If you have an existing block, take a look at it. What percent of your groups have dental or other lines of coverage? Think about the additional revenue you could potentially add. I would consider this pretty low hanging fruit. If you already have one line of coverage or the medical with them, they already have trust, you already have a reason to talk to them every year. Why not offer and discuss and bring up a dental plan and how that could benefit them and their employees? At the end of the day, it's a numbers game, right? So if you set your monthly income goal, then we can all do math. And I know everybody has their different number of calls that they have to make to get how many appointments and how many appointments it takes to get a new client. But at the end of the day, set your goal and then work backwards to figure out how many people you have to talk to dental to get them to buy, and then to add that revenue stream to your practice. So understanding competitors, I think, is really an opportunity for you to position yourself. So understand who they are, what are their strengths, what do they do really, really well, but more importantly, what are they missing? Are they talking voluntary benefits, or are they mostly focused on compliance and medical? Is there a certain segment size? Different agencies and practices have different focuses. So are we in that small group under 50? Can we even make it a niche group under 20? Or do we focus on the larger 100+ groups? So take a look at that, understanding what the competitors are doing may provide an opportunity for you to expose a gap that you can basically fill that need in your particular market and create a niche for yourself. Don't worry about being all things to all people. I think sometimes that is, really we want to sell anything to anybody, anytime, right? When we're trying to grow our practices. But if you can kind of slow down and become a little bit more strategic and embrace that concept of being a specialist, it can really position you not only to help the clients that you have, but for them when they're talking to their, at their networking groups and at their dinner parties, if they're talking about, hey, you should talk to this guy. They really know what they're doing. Or man, she really helped me in this situation. I talked to my broker about that last week. It really can help you kind of become a special niche market there. Another idea on this space as you get to know your competitors, what if there's a broker in town that's getting close to retirement age and they don't have anybody to take over their business? Is it an opportunity for you, instead of them just selling their practice to another agency, is it an opportunity for you to partner with them, learn from them, let them teach you how they've grown their business and how they've taken care of it and their clients over the years? And then not only can you continue that for them, but maybe you can bring in new ideas as well to help grow that block of business as well. So, just some ideas there for you. I know everybody's situation is different, but understanding your competition can really help. I think just create some perspective on what might be a good niche for you. Knowledge, knowledge. Honestly, I think it's probably the key. If you understand and educate yourself on these benefits, why employers want it, why employees are asking for it, how can it benefit them, that is really going to position you as the expert in the field. The hard part is knowledge takes some time to evolve and accumulate. So when you're brand new, I think it's really important to leverage your relationships, right? Lean on your carrier reps, right? We are experts in each of our fields. So don't be afraid to, spend time like this today, educating yourself and learning and accumulating knowledge. And then, work with them to kind of develop a strategy and a recommendation. Some of the most successful brokers that I see, they make recommendations to their client. They are experts of their trade, and they want to work with people who are experts in their trade. So tell them, most of my clients are doing this. When I work with practices of your size or in your particular area of expertise, we often see them have a dental plan like this. Whether it's employer paid, whether it's voluntary, whether it's 1,000 MEX, whatever it is, most clients appreciate and want to work with a broker that are going to make recommendations for them. So communicate, I would say this is pretty key in all of our relationships, but communicating with brokers is really, or with your clients is really the way to develop trust and to position yourself as that expert. One of the things that I love to do is to respond immediately, even if I don't have a response. Right. So if they send you an email and ask about something, just a simple response. Hey, I got your email. I'm working on it. I'll be back in touch. Just acknowledging that you got their email is going to create some peace for them, and it's going to help them understand that you're working on it, as opposed to working on it and not acknowledging it. And then they're wondering if you got their email or if you're working to help them. So always acknowledging that. If it's been a couple of days and you still don't have the answer for them, maybe just circle back and say, hey, I haven't forgotten about you. I'm still working on this. I should know something here in the next few days. Again, those little quick interactions, they build trust, they bring comfort, and it helps the prospect or the client know that you have them covered. Spend time with your clients, and be curious. what are their pain points? So what are the pain points of your benefit packages? What complaints are you hearing from employees when they, are in the lunchroom or come into your office if you're the HR person? What's working really well? What do they love? Because we probably don't want to change that, right? But are there things that we can learn from that benefit that we can leverage in other benefits to help kind of round out that benefits package? What's important to them? Are they going to be price driven because they're in a financial situation right now that they have to be price driven? Or if money isn't an option and they don't care if you save them money, they want to enhance the benefits or they want to maintain the benefits. So, don't assume that client to client, what is important to them or what they have to do from financial situations are going to be the same. Ask them, and then that's going to help you identify solutions that are going to help ease their pain points. Using social media, I think people have varying comfort levels of this, but if you say post something on LinkedIn and you're trying to make a name for yourself in the market, lean on your carrier partners for material on subjects that are important to you or you think might be important to your clients and post it, or follow those website or follow those LinkedIn posts for different things that you think might be important to your clients and share it. Or, make sure that you just are continually sharing that information and knowledge. So when a question does come up or, the timing works out, they're coming to you and they're thinking of you. So, man, we covered a lot of stuff today, Dr. Scott. That was a lot of information. So, if we want to just quickly summarize, knowing the terminology and leveraging that knowledge to uncover the pain points for your clients and prospects is really going to be huge for you as you continue to try to grow your practice and increase your revenue. Understand the differences in the carriers and in the plans they offer will keep you from making a mistake in your recommendation. It's great if you can save them 20%. But if you move them from a MAC plan to a UCR plan to a MAC plan, and they go to a lot of out-of-network dentists, that's going to create some pain points, and it's probably going to cost them more than that 20% you save them on the premium charges. So just understand those differences, and then define your goals. Understand. Make a target. Shoot for something, adding an X lines of coverage. I want to add X. Not only just this many more new clients this year, but I want to add this many more lines of coverage to my existing clients. And that's really how you can boost that revenue target for yourself. Okay, shameless plug. We won't spend a lot of time because I think we have quite a few questions coming up. But what Beam offers flexible plans, easy to understand, easy to implement. And leveraging our technology, we really make them easy to maintain. So reach out to your MDE the next time they shoot you an email or we send one of our corporate emails, and take some time to learn more about us. Also leverage us, right? On the next slide, we have our broker resource center and a link to our webpage. Our marketing team does such a tremendous job of putting useful facts, and we have a great piece on UCR versus MAC. Leverage that experience from us as a knowledge source to share with your clients and to position yourself, to grow your practice and increase your revenue. So Sam, I think that's all for it today. Are we going to open it up to questions?
Yeah. Yep. We have lots of questions that came through. So first of all, thank you, Jody and Dr. Scott, for just powering through all of that information. I think there is a lot there and a lot more to learn in the future. As a reminder for everybody also on the call, again, my shameless plug on the back end here is you should see a survey coming through the chat that we would love for you to fill out, just to give us some feedback and to help us moving forward. But with that, let's take a look at some of these questions. And actually, Jody, you kind of gave me a great lead in here mentioning the MAC versus UCR. We had someone with a question. Could you give an example of how a beneficiary is charged on a MAC plan versus a UCR plan? And maybe that's something that is found in the Brokerage Resource Center. Maybe you want to expand on that a little bit since you just happened to talk about that.
Yeah, we do have a piece on that out on our broker. I'm pretty sure it's on the Broker Resource Center. But just as an example, and let's not get stuck on the numbers, but I'll give you an example. If it's a MAC plan, All dentists that accept a fee schedule are accepting a discount, right? And sometimes these discounts can be pretty sizable, 25, 30%. So if you go in for, let's say, a filling, and that filling is going to be $200, that's what the dentist charges, $200. If it's I'm gonna have to do some quick math, so bear with me. But let's say the discount's $40, right, on that. So the insurance company is going to pay $160, and the dentist has agreed to take that $160 as payment. A network dentist, there's no balance billing, right? The member's protected from that $40. If you go on a MAC plan to an out-of-network dentist, the member is going to be responsible for the difference in that $200 versus that $160. So they're going to pay their co-insurance amount plus the balance bill. So that can get pretty sizable because the discounts, like Dr. Scott talked about those PPO plans, the discounts on those MAC plans, what they're paying for the in-network dentist is the exact same amount they're paying the out-of-network difference. And the member is the one that has to pay the difference. A UCR plan, that $200, if it's at the 90th percentile, there may be no balance bill, right? If your dentist charges less than what 90 out of 100 in that area charge, you're not going to have any balance bill. And in many cases, that's the experience. Or that it could be maybe $195 is that reimbursement. And so you're only going to have a $5 balance bill. So those are some rough numbers, but that's just a way to explain it.
Great. Thank you. Another question that came through, and I will say a lot of these came through kind of in our first section around the dental terminology. So that's where they're coming from. What is D and P coinsurance?
It's diagnostic and preventive. So the first, if you hear 180/50 plan, it's always the first number.
Great. All right, let's see here. Just taking a look through the questions. Like I said, we have a lot of them. So if we don't get to all of them today, we will reach out after the webinar. Let's see. Do you have some suggestions on how brokers can differentiate themselves from their competitors by using the dental benefits terminology that we went over today effectively? Maybe this is one for you, Dr. Scott.
Yeah, it's really, and it gets back to what Jody said about educating your clients on what's going to best fit their needs. And by knowing the differences between PPOs, HMOs, indemnity, and those types of things, knowing the type of employees that are covered at these various businesses, that's really what will help with the plans and getting your clients on board.
Okay, great. Thank you. Another one here. How does offering a dual option impact rates?
It increases the risk, right? Because if you're giving employees choice, they're going to buy the plan that most suits their needs. So if they generally have healthy teeth and they don't need a lot of the basic or major services, they might tend towards the low plan, which is less premium. And then your people that know they have crowns coming up or know they're going to need a root canal or have ongoing gum disease, they're going to buy the high plan because the benefit's higher. So it basically kind of starts to take people toward their needed benefit. So they're maximizing their cost and so it's creating a little bit more exposure for the insurance company because your people that don't tend to get the coverage take the low plan, it's less premium. And then your higher utilizers are going to take the higher premium. And even though they're paying more, you don't have those people that aren't using the claims in that same pool to kind of help subsidize that.
Great answer. You have so much knowledge. I love it. Again, so I know we talked about this a little bit, but can you just remind us what MAC stands for again?
Yeah, maximum allowed charge.
Perfect. Thank you. Let's see, another question here. as a broker, again, going back to kind of the education piece, what's the best way to stay up to date with the latest developments in dental benefits and terminology?
Well, how about going to our website and utilizing that portal?
Shameless plug. That was not the lead there, but
Yeah, I agree, Dr. Scott. I think it's like doing things like you did today, right? Joining this platform, continuing to educate yourself. You guys have CE requirements that are due every other year. So, looking for opportunities to educate yourself and create that knowledge that's going to, help set you apart.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, again, shameless plug, as we'll keep saying, Beam also has a blog on our website. So I think that sometimes too can be helpful for staying up to date. Another question here. I know we have about 4 minutes left, so we'll keep cruising. And if there's no great answer, you just let me know. But we have a question asking, what's the typical time frame for the PPO contract agreement with the DDS? That's part one. And then is it usually written to include the group of DDS in a practice or individually? Maybe Dr. Scott, this is best for you to answer.
Yes. So I will tell you typical and I will tell you Beam. Typically, it can take months to get credentialed, signed up, and everything with an insurance company. Beam, it can take just a few weeks. So the provider fills out the information form, we get the agreements in place, and we start the credentialing, and that we get that done really in just a couple of weeks. And so I would say within a month, maybe 4 to 6 weeks with Beam, you're ready to go. It is, unfortunately, it's with each doctor within a group. So, if there's a single doctor and they bring on a new associate or whatever that may be, it is for each patient, it is for each doctor in that group, because the credentialing, we basically want to make sure you're not a serial killer. And so it has, we check your malpractice, we check your licenses, your education. There is a process that has to be gone through for each individual provider.
Okay. Thank you. Another question here. Are UCR plans paid with the same without balance bill for out-of-network providers?
It's a little tricky because it depends on what that dentist charges. So, when Jody talked about the 90th percentile, if the dentist is charging below the 90th percentile, depending on what the procedure is, it may be paid at, we may pay all of it. We may pay, if it's an 80, 50, we'll pay 50%. And so if the dentist is charging a lower fee, the member will benefit from that. And conversely, though, if the patient goes out of network and that out of network doctor charges 200% of UCR, that member is going to have a much higher copay. Hopefully that answered the question.
I know some of these probably are very much my favorite answer of it depends, right? Because things are different, whoever you're working with. So I'm going to pause there because we are just about at time. But for those of you who are still on and had questions that you did not get answered, like I said, we will follow up with those after the webinar. Want to be respectful of everybody's time. Thank you so much for joining us. If you did not fill out the survey, please take a second to click on the link. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks again, Dr. Scott and Jody, for a fabulous educational lesson here today. And hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for joining.